12:30 a.m.
Whoa, now. What's going on, good people? Hoping everybody's having a good day. Ooh, boy, hot outside, but that's okay. It's going to get hotter on the air today. We got a lot to talk about. Man, I got so much stuff in the news. I'm looking around and saying to myself, do we really want to talk about this today? Because we got enough to probably save to the remainder of the week. All the way to the end. We got so much stuff going on. My number, 504-582-9422. That's 504-582-9422. Make sure that you get it in so that we can talk about them. And also, your answers, that's what I'm talking about. But also, did y'all get a chance to see the meeting today at City Council Chambers as they groomed the sheriff and had her talking about the issues of the jail, which I thought was interesting. I did. I thought it was very interesting. So we'll see. We shall see. All right. So what else you got to talk about, Gerard? I'm glad y'all asked. Y'all on the doggone it, boy. I swear. We can see you. Some of these bills that are coming out. Oh my God. Are y'all paying attention to the bills? And I do have a request that they are looking at. I am waiting for the answer because I did get a call back from Kate, who is the communications person for your governor, Governor Jeff Landry, that they would try to, but of course the time frame did not work out for this week, so we're going to try for next week, okay? Because there's something else that was going on. So I am going to have a poll today. I got to talk about what's happening with Sally Ann Roberts today. We got to talk about what's happening with this homelessness today. And I don't know if you all heard or saw the video that supposedly came back from the inmate from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, Massey, who has stated that he is innocent and that he was let out of the jail because he had his paperwork and they were trying to keep him in there, but he was let out and he had affidavits saying it and he showed it. But I know law enforcement right now is trying to figure out, is that real? So let me be the one to say, and I'm gonna be just frank, not Skip, not Ben, not Steve. I'm gonna be frank. Whoever shot that video just criminalize yourself. What? Whoever shot that video, you just critically put yourself in a position where you're going to be criminalized. You're going to be arrested as well. It's apparent to me that there's a lot of folks that don't understand technology and just don't have a mindset to say, they looking at you, which was Antoine Massey as he was talking. Yes, everybody looking at you. But law enforcement ain't just looking at him. Law enforcement is looking in the background. Law enforcement is seeing what is in the background. He's in somebody's kitchen. And as a matter of fact, they probably running so many different AI versions of this right now. They're trying to figure out whose kitchen is this. By the way, the biggest sign that he's in somebody's kitchen is on the wall where they have the word kitchen. Who has the word kitchen in the kitchen. Trust me, somebody been in that kitchen that could use $50,000. Somebody is either told them where that is or they gonna find it. Because keep thinking all these folks is your friends and they gonna do this and they gonna do that. Have you all seen the video? 504-582-9422. Have y'all seen the video? Do I need to pull up the Antoine Massey video and play it for you? I'm just saying. Do we need to play it for you? Have you seen it? And I'm just saying to myself, as I saw it, it made me ask the question, why is he asking for help? And one part of it, he did say, when I end up back in jail. He didn't say it verbatim, but when I get back in the system. And believe me, this has already made national news. This has made national news. I'm just thinking to myself, did the system also make some type of mistake? Did they? Did they make a mistake? So law enforcement officials, and let me read this to you. Law enforcement officials are scrambling this afternoon and trying to verify social media posts that appeared to show New Orleans jail fugitive Antoine Massey. He was arguing that he was being miscast as a mastermind behind last month's historic breakout. Deputy U.S. Marshal Brian Fair and another law enforcement source confirmed they were investigating the video, which was first published Sunday on Instagram. In quotes here, they're saying that he said, I broke out. They're saying that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out, said the man on the video, who identified himself as Massey and wore the same facial tattoos. The video was deleted late Monday afternoon after news outlets began reporting on its contents. But trust me, they already got it. Now, the question is, whose house is he in? Is this a New Orleans house? Has somebody been in this house? Because the background area where he is sitting in that kitchen has a kitchen cabinet on the wall, and in between that kitchen cabinet above the sink, it says kitchen. Trust me, they're going to try to find out whose house this is. And I can tell you again and again that these folks are going to do their best to associate you with harboring a fugitive if that's what's going on. The question is, and which I thought was, I'm just walking on, I'm just saying to myself, he's making points. And if you look at the social media posters coming with it, they're saying that he's telling the truth. I'm talking about the people that are answering on this Instagram account. They say he's telling the truth. But what do you do? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? and he's asking for help. Lil Wayne, Meek Mill, he's asking big people to give him some help. What do y'all think? When you saw it, what do you think? I know that was a topic of conversation in the post on yesterday's video as well, but I had not seen it, but I am seeing it now. So was this something that you believe? And I guess my question is, if he did not and was not telling the truth, why? Why was he asking for help? And what do you think? 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. To me, this is, I don't know. I'm looking at it and saying to myself, is this asking for help, or is he just scared that he's going to get killed in the process? I think. And have you seen the video? I've gotten to the point now where, you know what, AI is out here, so I don't know what to believe. I'm serious. I don't know what to believe. But he was saying that he was let out, and also had affidavits saying that he was supposed to be out. These AI accounts have gotten real now. Everybody's really scared now. I don't know what to believe. I don't either. Then I got to talk about another video, and I don't know, but I think this is his aunt, who is, I cannot play any of that post, because she's saying a couple of 4-letter words that we can't put on the air, and she said them a lot of times. But she's also saying that, you know, there's a lot more to this than what we know. This video is about 9 minutes. And we have it. Y'all let me know what you want me to do. Have you seen it? Have you heard about it? Did you watch it? Did you hear it? And what's wrong with you? Are you all saying that he telling the truth? Because that's what I'm looking at the comments. He telling the truth. All right, I tell you what we'll do. We'll take the break. We'll take the break here, and we'll come back. I'm gonna send Wicker this. I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this video, so you can replay the audio from it. It's probably got a couple of cuss words in it, but that's okay. We all grown here. We'll check it out, y'all. Everybody, hold on. We're coming back.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do. Every Monday is Moving Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. For those of you that got a chance to see the Antoine Massey video, what he said, a lot of folks are agreeing with him and talking about different issues. So we'll get to it in a minute. I know that we're screening some of it right now, but in the meantime, before we get to that, I want to take a minute to say congratulations to our compadre who worked here for and still's here airing her gospel program along with Monica Pierre. Congratulations to Sally Ann Roberts and her brother Lawrence, who have put together the Lucy Sings on Lucy Street, Garden District Bookshop. That is going to be on June 7th, where they're going to be signing some books because they got a new children's book. Sally Ann Roberts always looks for the light, as you know. This is a story that comes from us, a story that was written by Keith Sparrow. During her 26th year of co-anchoring the Eyewitness Morning News, alongside the late Eric Paulson, she always sought positivity, even in the toughest of times. She inherited the philosophy from her mother, the former Lucy Marion Lucy Tolliver. How Lucy Marion learned that lesson is the subject of Lucy Sings on Lucy Street, a new children's book by none other than Sally Ann Roberts and her brother, Lawrence Butch Roberts. Published by an imprint of HarperCollins, Lucy Sings on Lucy Street is a family affair. Lucy Sings on Lucy Street. That's the name of the book. It is a family affair. Sally Ann and Lawrence's sister, longtime Good Morning American host Robin Roberts, wrote the epilogue. With illustrations by Justina Sutherland, the book tells the true story of a traumatic but ultimately transformative moment in young Lucy Marion's life. So, congratulations to our very own Sally Ann Roberts and her brother on their new book, which is entitled Lucy Sings on Lucy Street. We'll see, can we get Sally Ann to come in and talk about the book and talk about her signing of the book, because during Saturday story time, that starts at 11 a.m. at the Garden District Bookshop. The address is 2727 Britannia Street. The siblings will be signing copies of the book. That is Saturday at story time, starting at 11 a.m. at the Garden District Bookshop. The address again, 2727 Britannia Street. It introduces readers to Lucy Marion as an 8-year-old living on Lucy Street in Akron, Ohio in 1932. She enjoys a childhood on a street populated by the children of European immigrants. The Great Depression would soon intrude on little Lucy's life. One day she sees men repossessing furniture from inside her family's home. Her parents could no longer keep up the payments. Their electricity is also turned off. Upset, Lucy retreats to the nearby home of her grandfather, the Reverend George Suddeth, who founded the Robert Street Church of God in Christ in 1917. He counsels his young granddaughter to sing, specifically to sing the Sunday school favorite, This Little Light of Mine. Singing in good medicine, he says in the book, it cures all kinds of ills. When you sing, you cheer yourself up. Skeptical, she gives it a try, and Grandpa George lends rhythmic support, and young Lucy's mood is transformed. Eating dinner that night by candlelight in her family's basement, she is eager to cheer up her downtrodden parents, but her father doesn't allow singing at the table. So she finishes her supper quickly, then runs outside and starts singing This Little Light of Mine outside the basement window. With that, her family's spirits are lifted. Robin Roberts recounts how one of the Lucy Marion Tolliver's grade school teachers, Wilma Schnegg, became a mentor. Miss Schnegg encouraged Lucy Marion in her schoolwork and helped her earn a college scholarship, changing the trajectory not only of Lucy Marion's life, but those of her children, Sally Ann, Lawrence, and Robin. Lucy Marion Tolliver, who later became Lucy Marion Roberts, often told the story of her Depression-era upbringing and of Wilma Schnegg's kindness. Those stories, and Lucy Marion sings throughout the rest of her life, became part of Roberts' family lore.
Okay, we are good to go. No cussing.
None?
None.
Okay. We good?
Not that we heard.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I'm glad you made sure, though. But the video is about, what, 9 minutes? It's about 9 minutes?
Yeah, it's about 9 minutes.
Okay. So what we're going to hear is the audio. I do think that you all need to hear what he is saying, because this was a big topic yesterday. And this, while we were doing the show yesterday with Dr. Uther. So here we go. This is the Antoine Massey audio from the video that he made and sent it in on Instagram. All right, go ahead.
Massey, I'm one of the ones that was let out of GC. What I want to talk about today is as far as why I was in Orleans Parish Jail. I was in custody for almost 8 months. All right, 6 months, something like that. I was in there for theft of a motor vehicle and domestic abuse involving strangulation. That's what I was in Orleans Parish for. Okay, but Before I was in Orleans Parish, I was in a jail called St. Tammany Detention Center. All right, St. Tammany Jail here in St. Tammany Parish. There's two different parishes, Orleans and St. Tammany. Okay. Today, what I want to talk about is that I was on second-degree kidnapping, second-degree rape, domestic abuse, battery, involving strangulation, domestic abuse, battery, violation of protective order, right? On this woman right here, her name is Diamond White. That's her name. This is a district attorney drop form right here. And she's not a child. She's an adult, a full adult. I was dating this woman. This is a legalized affidavit saying all allegations against me is false. You remember, all allegations against me is false. I was nowhere around her or none of that during the timing of the date, which was November the 10th of 2024. Okay, so I was in St. Tammany, right, and I was on a regular domestic charge, right. So they put a parole hold on me because I was on a domestic charge. So with that being said, is that once that occurred, and the charges was refused or whatever, they shipped me to Orleans Parish where I had more open charges. It was the theft of a motor vehicle and the domestic abuse, battery, involving strangulation. So once I got in Orleans Parish jail, all right, I have from the district attorney's office, this woman who they say that I initially raped in another parish and in Orleans Parish is the same woman here. It's not different females. It's the same grown woman, not a child, a grown woman. Okay, she did the same thing in Orleans Parish, right? Correct. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. Okay, she did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false. And she even saying it, you know, she let her know the truth, that I never did this to her. I never hit her. I was nowhere around her, nothing. She got mad and thought that I was dealing with another woman. That's why she did what she did to me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, too, once I got into Orleans Parish, I was there for like, a month or something like that. Okay, a lot went on as that time progressed. Okay, if you was an innocent person and you know the judges and DA know that this person is saying that all the charges that you're on, that you did not do, why was you still in jail? Louisiana have the highest incarceration rate in the world for putting black people away. Yes, at the end of the day, in my younger life, I'm not gonna lie, I was causing problems. I was young. My daddy got killed when I was 7 years old. My mom had to raise 4 children by herself, so I had to find a way to try to help my mother. You feel what I'm saying? But as time went on, the person that I once was, I'm not that person today. That is not who I am. I have a 3-year-old son. I have an 18-year-old daughter that graduated yesterday, supposed to be. At the end of the day, that people don't understand that they see that I'm armed and dangerous. I have a heart. People that know me know that at the end of the day, I am a good person. So I'm asking for help from the world, from Meek Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump. I'm asking for these people. I couldn't even get a lawyer. I couldn't even afford a lawyer to prove my innocence while I was in Orleans Parish jail. They said that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. My name is Antoine Massey. The guy who said that I threatened him with a shank, the maintenance guy, how could I threaten you with a shank? You can't come around me. You're a maintenance. You cannot come on the tills without a deputy being behind you. Because if they just let you on the till, you could be persuaded to bring drugs or anything like that nature. So how can I threaten you to jail you? And why you didn't notify the people, the police, that if I did threaten you, you never did that. Like, you flat out lied on me. Sterling flat out lied on me. And I want to let the media know that from the straight tattoos in my face and things of that nature, of course they're going to believe Sterling. You know what I'm saying? I never told Sterling nothing. I'm willing to take a lie detector test and everything behind that, but that's another subject. Orleans Parish is one of the corruptedest jails. That in St. Tammany Parish is the corruptedest jails in the state of Louisiana. Why was I even incarcerated with a woman saying that this never happened? This is this woman's name. This is the charge, domestic abuse violation. This is about the shit in St. Tammany. Why would I, in Orleans Parish, why was I even in jail? That's what I'm trying to show y'all. That's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me, that's trying to prove their innocence. That's why they ran. Jason Williams, the sheriff, Susan Hudson, these people are corrupted. These people was talking to St. Tammany and telling St. Tammany they gonna sentence me behind this, and telling St. Tammany if they can't get me, St. Tammany gonna get me. You see what I'm saying? Behind a woman that's a grown adult that never stated that I ever raped her. They have a detective that's over the case, that's trying to pursue charges on me because of my prior history. Who I was in the past is not who I am today. So I'm asking for the media. I don't even have a lawyer to help me. I'm asking for help. That's why I ran. You feel me? I'm a grown man. I have kids. I have a mother. I have a baby mother, a child, my children mother. Like it's a lot going on. And that's why I ran. I need help. You feel what I'm saying? Orleans Parish and St. Tammany is one of the corruptest parishes in the world. And I'm asking for help. There's a lot of corruption. It's juggins, all type of stuff going on, and they covering it up. They don't care about nothing. In the state of Louisiana, this is something that need to go under a federal investigation. What's going on? How they having cases? Why Antoine Massey was in jail if the woman, the victim, the grown woman, not a child, the grown woman stated that he never raped her. He never beat her. He was nowhere in her presence. This is the affidavits on the date right here. This is the drop form from the district attorney office. This woman when did this. I didn't do this. Look, it's legally dated. So I'm asking, please, for help. Young Boy, Meek Mills, people, LBL, you know what I'm saying? People that been through the system that know it's corrupt. Lil Wayne, Donald Trump, please, I'm asking for help.
All right, there we go. We can come back to it. I just wanted to make sure that we heard exactly what was coming. This is supposedly the video from Antoine Massey. Has not been verified. Waiting to see who's going to verify. People are saying that they believe it's him. So you tell us, Cedric.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I just believe that if this is halfway through, true, that perhaps the Department of Justice should be investigating the video and what he's saying in the video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that some of his frustration is going to the wrong person, because you were not in jail because of, no sheriff. You were in jail because of the alleged violations.
Right.
Plus district attorney's offices and, the charges that are levied against you, police, the process.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want to go from there to this. In every parish that there is a jail or a prison, per state law, that governing authority, the mayor, the city council, are responsible for maintaining or giving finances for maintaining that jail.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about this jailbreak and all of this stuff, the sheriff is the sheriff, but it's more to the sheriff. It's more than the responsibility just doesn't lie with the sheriff.
Right.
The responsibility lies with the sheriff. The funding of the jail lies per state charter, state legislation, lies with the mayor and the city council. And as far as if there's a case backlog, that lies with the district attorney's office.
Mm-hmm.
So voters of New Orleans, don't let nobody off. And that's all I got to say, man.
I got you. All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you, buddy. All right, Mr. Elmore.
Yeah, see, I listened to the brother, and he has a very good point. the sad thing about it, no one makes comments until something like that happens. New Orleans has a very bad history. It had the largest concentration of young men, Afro Americans, in jail than any place in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana also. The United States had. I mean, the rest of the country tried to be a little more passion, if you will, maybe try to be a little better. But New Orleans, Louisiana ain't really changed that much. I mean, you still have the largest concentration of black men being in jail in any places other than maybe China.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a travesty that the young man had to say so. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect. Nobody's perfect, but some of the things he said makes a lot of sense. And what we need them, and the brother previously, just now, I commend you, brother, because what you're saying is we got to make everybody accountable.
Right.
And before we start saying, listen, I'm not for or against her, but listen, I'm for facts and truth. And Susan Hutchins being in charge, sure she's responsible. Sure she needs to be accountable. But let's be real. Let's be fair. The thing is, if she covered her, you know what, and I can't say what I really want to say. If she covered herself, emails, documentation, whatever she has to justify what she's saying, the jail didn't have adequate locks. Problem.
Mm-hmm.
The plumbing is screwed up. Okay, what I'm hearing, and I can't mention the name that was told to me, said that it was a lot of shenanigans done with the general contractors, the subs, the mechanical of the building, and everything else. Nobody is going to address it to right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Susan Hudson, I'm saying, if she covered her, you know what, for documentation, before we start saying she's wrong, we need to find out. Naturally, Guzman going to throw her under the bus. Naturally, he's going to say that. He could cover his, you know what. I heard him say it. Well, everything was fine when I was there. Yeah, but man, you're gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Susan, I hope she covered her, you know what. Got all the proper documentation. That's what counts, brother. I don't go about what she said. What documentation you had with the city council?
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And I don't know if we all considered this, but it's something to consider. It's something to really have a conversation about. That jail is 10 years old, right? It just turned 10. We right under 10-year anniversary of that jail being built, right?
Okay.
So the contractor is the same contractor, as a matter of fact, that is building the mental health wing of that jail. That's building it right now, McDonald, right? So there was a lawsuit against that building, and for him to be able to build that building and get that contract, he settled and paid. I don't know if anybody knows that, but the whole deal is when you have something of that monstrosity, I think the state or the city, the residents paid $134 million and some change for that building, for the jail. So one of the things that has to come up, and I don't know why this is not it, you don't just build no facility like that and say, there you go, see you later. A warranty comes with that for 10 years. I don't know if anybody really is considering that there's a warranty for that building for 10 years. Susan Hudson wasn't there 10 years ago. The city council is the one that approved the building. They signed off on it. Their signatures is on it. So my question is, how come they didn't know that? Guzman is gone. But that building had a warranty on it for 10 years.
Well, look, you're talking in a way that I feel you know a little something, which is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The bottom line is people are talking to us like we're super stupid, like we polar bear of mushrooms, and we're not. You got educated people that listen and talk, just like your profession. You're a professional talker. Well, I like to listen. I'm trying to be a semi-professional listener. The fact of the matter is this. A lot of shenanigans with safety permits, all these phony baloney inspectors that don't even live here, and 99% of them are white, that inspect that building and said everything was fine when it wasn't. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that building deteriorated within 10 years. But what you expect when everybody banging on it, trying to break those locks, they don't have nothing to do in there. They in there just in there willy-nilly. One of the issues would be they just in there with nothing to do. She's trying to give them some stuff to do. I just think that a lot of folks don't like progressive jailing. They just want you to lock them up and throw away the key.
Well, again, Joel, what needs to be mentioned, and I'm sure you mentioned it, just because I didn't hear, don't mean you never mentioned it. The jails have become a business, Joel.
Oh,
you
it's
don't
been
give
a
a
business.
you rat says about me and you going to jail.
Right, it's been a business.
Fortunately, me and you have a little money that we can get ourselves out.
Well,
not because we pay to get out, because it was being railroaded to a certain degree. And God bless us, we had a little collateral. We had people behind us, attorneys, to get us out. But a lot of those young men are poor, man. The Afro-American poor young men.
Well,
They ain't got the weirdo like me and you.
Think about this, all right? So one of the things that Susan did was get rid of that phone system in there. You ever call somebody in the jail? It's like $10 a minute. They're making $500,000 a year just in phone calls to try to talk to your loved one. She got rid of that system.
That's totally ridiculous.
She got rid of that system, so you know what she did? She pissed somebody off. So now they don't have to worry. I mean, people paying big money just to talk to their loved ones over there.
Which is wrong, George. That's wrong. I mean, that you got to say something. Look, sometimes people don't look. You know, this is the thing, man. We have New Orleans is as Afro American city as you can get right now, and years ago it was. And what gets me is that we need to have in the future, if we never had a yesterday, leadership that's very progressive, that really all for people. That's, I mean, be for the people, man. And I mean, you're getting paid decently. It's a decent job, decent money you get as a politician. Man, try to do something for the people, man. Because a lot of things are so phony, man. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Elmo. Appreciate you much.
All right, brother.
All right, more coming up, folks. We got to take our break. We'll come back. Major Riley, you coming up. Hold on.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. All right, it's about 10 minutes to 5 o'clock here. Major Riley, you've been holding. How you doing, dear?
Good afternoon. I'm great. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Wow. There's so many things that come up, like weaponizing the police against each other. That's a big one. When we get mad at our significant other and we lose control of our emotions, and then our emotions begin to dictate to us how to solve our problems, and we tend to want to call the police on our own folks. Just want to remind everyone that usually does not turn out well, especially around issues where you end up forgiving them anyway, and in a couple of months y'all figure it out and you're back in a relationship. So my first compelling thought is to just put out there, let's calm down when we're angry and think things through before we take rational actions. But the other thing that comes to mind as I'm listening to all of this, you know, when we talk about politics and these issues are being politicized for the upcoming election, I'm sure someone sees an opportunity in that.
Oh, you absolutely
but
correct.
I want to speak to the humanity in all of us, right? We're talking about human beings. We're talking about somebody's children. We're talking about someone's fathers and mothers and grandparents involved with this. This is a community problem. And so I just want to put out there to the folks who are in charge, the elected officials who have the ultimate authority in this, don't worry about election. Do the right thing. Open this whole thing up to the public. Invite the agencies in to crawl through all of this paperwork and do the proper investigation and find out what actually is happening here. Do this for your community so that we can finally know where the problems are within these organizations and give these people the opportunity to fix what they're doing wrong or remove them and get people in there. And I'm not talking just the sheriff. I'm talking the police officers, the folks who handle facilities and contracting and maintenance, everyone who puts on a uniform and receives taxpayer dollars for these services. Go in accordance to the regulation. Open the books up. Don't worry about your jobs, because this is our lives we're talking about. And even though you may be an employee, this could affect your children who are just going to school or just going to get a cold drink at a local corner store.
Mm-hmm.
This is all connected. And if we are covering for someone, we've got to stop that, because the person you're covering for, we've heard about the butterfly effect, I'm sure. There are ripples to all of this. We're living in the ripples of what happened 40, 60 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing is broken, not because Susan Hudson's in the seat or, somebody who wants to be the next sheriff in this. This is because there's systemic corruption, there's systemic looking away, there's systemic, opportunists in this process. Let's once and for all open this thing up, let the authorities come in and get this thing fixed. I understand why a person would go on the run and make a video like that. He's desperate, and there's two sides, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides to every story. And I've sat with Michelle Charles when she's gone in as a public defender in Orleans Parish. I see what a circus and for me, human rights violations are committed every time I sit and observe these court proceedings. I know what right looks like. I've been trained as a court reporter, and there's violation after violation, and we end up talking a lot about it, but no one's doing anything about it.
Right.
So let's come clean, New Orleans. Let's come clean, because the folks who's running the city look like us. We know what it is to live and be oppressed by all of this, and what we're doing now is hurting each other with a system that was put on top of us.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
We need to stop.
Yep. All right.
And do our job.
Well, thank you,
Please.
Major Riley. We got it. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you much.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Y'all have a good
Miss Denise? Miss Denise?
Hi, Gerard. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I listened to the video in depth. I saw it before, and I really listened to it. Mr. Massey needs to go back and listen to his own video, because from what I gathered, he said he was let out of jail.
Yes.
So in prison term, rollout, right? Now, I don't know what the hours of rollout down there or whatever it is. So if you was let out, roll out, you wouldn't run, because legally you was let out legally. But you're going back and forth. So you self-incriminate yourself the whole time you're talking. Because if you was let out, you should have walked away. So are you hearing what you're saying? You're desperate. You're afraid. And that's what happens when you get into that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're speaking to the public who can't find you guilty or innocent. And I think he's been in the system a while, whether it was young to where he is now, to pretty much know how it operates. Your innocent and guilt is before a judge, with a lawyer, and sometimes with a jury.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you're desperate, and that's what desperate people do desperate things. So Mr. Massey needs to go back and listen to that video and just turn himself in and get whatever's need to be done so he can get his life back on track.
Mm-hmm.
The blessed thing about it, nobody hurt anyone who broke out that jail.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take any lives. That was the, I guess, what you would say, an oxymoron, a good in that. So, Mr. Massey, again, go back and listen to what you just said and turn yourself in. And then try to get your life back together,
mm-hmm.
which is not hard. You're just going to have to do a little bit more than what anybody else would do.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I want to say is inside the jail, either, and this has nothing to do with the sheriff, either you're going to rehabilitate and let her do her job, or you're not going to let her do a job. So, for example, you said, like with the phone call, somebody didn't like that. Well, what you want her to do? She damaged, she do, she damaged, she don't. So what happens in a situation like that? People in there need to be rehabilitated. And she was at 35 that night that the black, I forget what it's called. I was there as well. And the guy who really captured me, he used one word. He said they went down to the prison, but rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
But if the
I can say the sheriff believes in that too, that there's got to be a rehabilitation done, because, and it has been something that, you know, is dear to our heart about rehabilitating some folks, because some of the stories that come out of there, Miss Denise, are really sad, and I can't get into anybody's
what makes
personal.
it hard on her? I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but give her a chance.
Yeah, and she's only been there 3 years. 3 years. So
it's just horrible, you know. But I had to say that Mr. Massey did look at that video again and turn himself in.
I got you. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate the call.
Okay.
Alrighty. All right, news is up next. We'll have some more conversation with you. The number 504-582-9422. About 5:20. Joining us by phone will be Mr. John Couvillon. Mr. Couvillon comes from JMC Analytics and Polling. There are new polls out, and he's going to give us the insight on what they are. We'll tell you more about it. News is next, y'all.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Local and federal authorities say they busted one of Seattle, Washington's biggest drug rings. 14 people were indicted after wiretaps tracked drugs coming from out of state.
We were able to expand our investigation from the drug distributors up to their sources of supply to cut off the flow of dangerous drugs into the Pacific Northwest and Washington state.
FBI Special Agent in Charge Mike Harrington says 11 were arrested. Agents seized fentanyl, meth, heroin, cocaine, and 17 guns. Rite Aid plans to shutter more than 300 of its stores. This comes after the drugstore chain filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last month. The newly planned closures are in addition to the more than 100 that Rite Aid announced last month. And new music from DMX is here. His estate just dropped Bring Out the Worst, featuring Joyner Lucas, the first single from a posthumous upcoming album called DMX Features, due out this summer. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Our number 504-582-9422 in the final hour of the reality check. Joining us this hour, Mr. John Couvion, who is the CEO of JMC Enterprises of Louisiana and also JMC Analytics and Polling. Evidently, there was a pact that asked Mr. Couvion to do a poll. We just happen to have the information. So he's going to join us about 5:20 because we got questions. Got some questions. All right, Leon.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, Gerard.
Yes, sir.
When I'm calling in, I'm calling and I'm gonna say what I got to say. And look here, I'm glad you played the video. I got a chance to hear the whole thing. Now, I wish I could have got to him and told him, look here, man, look at Gerard. If he knew that she was gonna be on this side, and that she was gonna go in there and testify that he didn't do nothing to her, and that affidavit. All you do is sit there and weather the storm. They're gonna play the long term, try to make you stand there 2 or 3 years, and play the mental health part of you, mess with your mindset, and eventually they're gonna dismiss that case. I don't know who he was talking to, was it a jailhouse lawyer or whatever. Based on what I see, that case a winnable case. So sometimes you have to just be patient, and they gonna beat you on that. That's what they do in that jail. You're sitting there. Sometimes the dudes don't get court dates for months. We know that. Now I want to say this here, on the political side, the politics. Let's talk about accountability. Or do we want to go back 10 years ago when they funded that and they built that thing? Who was in office then? I'm not naming names. Oh, you want to point the fingers? Look at the ones coming back at you. Then who been in office the last 10 years and put 7-0 to this and that and 7-0 negative to us and all this here? I'm not saying that. I want y'all to go look. Y'all want to pick candidates. Y'all go look. And then I'm going to end it with this here. You want to point the fingers at that sister? I want to know, because drugs, anybody know about jail, you just don't walk out of jail.
No.
You got checkpoints. You got different points. You got somebody got the buzzer let you out on one point to one point. Show the film. Show us. I want to know why nobody else being held accountable for it, other than the sheriffs. Okay. I won't know. But I'm gonna tell you this here. It's sad to hear, to watch, the questions and stuff. And I know they're gonna do their job, but they covering up for their own selves, Gerard. Because if I started to go today, I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna point the finger at them.
You talking about city
Gerard,
council?
Gerard. Everybody got an answer for not to get the fingers pointed at them.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand.
Remember way back we used to always say point of origin after Hurricane America Katrina, how they blight and we go, all this stuff we should say, and how the charter slaughter schools and all this stuff here. I want y'all to listen to them young people because the young man very strange. When you listen to the video, he articulated himself the way best he can, but it sounds, understandable. But Gerard, if you look at it, they were left behind. The mental health part of that, they were left behind, Gerard. And I'm going to tell y'all this here. You can't justify turning some of our parks into dog parks. Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave it like that.
Yeah.
Y'all have a nice day.
All right, Leon. He made his point. Y'all remember that? How they turned the parks into dog parks. Y'all remember that? I'm going to leave it alone, Leon, because we'll probably change the whole subject, boy. But you made your point. You made your point. One of the things too that got me a little bit perturbed, not uttered, but perturbed today. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see the grilling of the sheriff and her CFO in front of the city council today, and how we've gotten here with this financial audit and pretty much I guess the grilling of the sheriff and talking about her finances, when she has made it a point to send the city council, here's our finances every month. They just wanted to go on this brass system. Y'all heard them say, keep hearing them say brass. That's the name of the software system that is universal for the city of New Orleans. Well, let's make sure that we say this correct. They say it's universal for the city of New Orleans, but they drilling her now that we are in a crisis of, okay, we got to get the plumbing fixed. We got to get the barbed wire redone. We got to get all these different things done at the jail. So you want the money to do that? We need to have a conversation on why you're not on this brass system, on this software. And the sheriff said it's not conducive to what we need. Well, I have questions. I mean, I'm just a little boy sitting on the side asking questions. I don't have any political gains in this at all, but I got questions. And my questions are, did you ask any of the other people as far as city agencies that are not on this system to get on it too so you can see their finances? The police department, NOPD, the district attorney's office? Did you ask them to get on the same system? Because from what I understand, I didn't hear the auditor today say that the sheriff's department is not in they're not in no deficit. They're not. They're just trying to rob Peter to pay Paul to pay the bills. Well, they got $20 million in cash. Yeah, but I got to pay for my employees. I got to pay for all the food that comes through. I got to pay for the rent, lease, and all the other stuff that we had to pay that before we got here out of that $20 million. So you're telling me that after we pay the bills, we $1 million in a deficit and they're asking you to give it to them? And then you had Mr. Red Bottoms to keep saying, well, I haven't seen it. I'm like, will y'all please pull the tape where she's asking you all to fix the infrastructure. Well, you ain't say that we had a problem with the water, because we had a problem with the water Saturday. The infrastructure of the building. Did you all question McDowell, or whoever that is that's fixing the building and building the new building? Did you all question him? Because one of the questions that I had was, if you all are talking about who built the building 10 years ago, you can Google the damn thing and find out if you really want to know. What are you asking the lady that's just been there for 3 years for? Y'all had the audacity to call the previous daggone sheriff and have him all over television. Why didn't you ask him? He was the one that signed off on it, just like y'all did. Signed off on it to say that the building's okay. But guess what? You got a 10-year warranty on that building. Why didn't y'all call the people and say, y'all need to come back and fix this here water? It's not 10 years yet. Sue them. Isn't that y'all job? That ain't the sheriff's job. This is a facility in the Orleans Parish facilities, right? I was sitting and just watching it. I just said, and Bianca Brown is the chief financial person for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. And you can tell when you making Bianca bad because her eyes get big. I saw them eyes get big. I was like, all right, get on up there, girl. Kick him in the you know what. Kick him. Smack him around. And then you can tell when the sheriff get frustrated. Because she'll say what she got to say on the microphone and then sit back like, B-I. She going to get me for that one. She going to get me for that. But what is it, y'all? When we going to stop pointing fingers and fix the building? There is a revised statute in the state that states that the Orleans Parish City Council, those people that are in charge, are responsible for the building. Ain't nobody telling nobody, hey, throw them towels down the toilet and see what they go through. Y'all know that's what's happening, right? You don't have some of the best people that you got in the city locked up there. You don't. You're going to have folks that have nothing to do except sit there and figure out how they can get out all day. Let's not act like this ain't the first time that somebody done messed out of jail. We ain't even going to talk about the dude that used to be down on Bourbon Street taking pictures and making videos talking about something, I'm out of jail on Bourbon Street, and then go back. We're not going to talk about when they had all the guns and dope and all that in there, when they were daggone shooting dice and all that in there. We're not going to talk about that. Yes, that is true.
Ho.
It's on YouTube. You can pull it up and look for it yourself.
Dude went to Bourbon Street.
And
hey, I'm on Bourbon Street. I'm going back to jail now.
Going back to jail. Yes, sir.
Man, I never heard about that one.
Yeah. We used to go down there. And that didn't happen under the current administration. That was the previous administration. But you never heard about it, right? You didn't hear about it like, Lord Jesus, look what's going on. Y'all, we've always had issues, but we ain't the only one. Everybody has had some issues with escapes. They had it in Tangipahoa Hope Parish, last week, a week before last too. They got one in Oklahoma. Used to be a former police chief. He didn't escape. And that's not including all the folks that has sat back and said, hey, have we sat back and imagined how many people have got out of the juvenile detention center? I mean, it's a good question. It is a good question. So now we got a whole bunch of questions. Everybody wants to sit down there and have some questions. Just get the building fixed. Just get it fixed. What you say, James?
You said everything I wanted to say, brother. I was just telling the man that you was right, and there was I think it was YouTube. You can YouTube it on WWL. Eric Paulson, I believe, did that story. That dude checked himself out of jail and checked himself back in. Them dudes were smoking crack in there. Them boys had pills. They had like a whole drug syndicate in the jail, guns and everything. You know, so for him to stand back and point it, that ain't happened on my watch, boy, you something. Boy, you something, man.
Yeah.
You something. You know, and it the sad part about it is, it's almost, I mentioned this to my wife earlier today. I could tell a well-dressed Negro is capitalized by somebody. You know, when you listen to Jason Williams talk sometimes, I get offended just for the fact that he just don't want to own up to his part in this. Why was the man sitting back there for all this time on some trumped-up charges? And he said, man, I hear them talking about one of us going to get him, St. Tammany or Orleans going to get him on these charges. But the charges, they trumped up. They're false. So why are you using the system to do that to people?
Yeah, I heard him say that, but I could not make out the affidavit that he was holding up. Because did you see the video?
Yeah,
I couldn't play it on the air. I couldn't play the video.
Look, they know what that affidavit says, Gerard.
Mm-hmm.
The people who signed that know what that affidavit says, and we ain't got to make it out. You dig what I'm saying?
But,
and they're playing games.
But my question was, if it was not that way, why did he have an affidavit in the first place?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Listen, man, there's a whole lot of questions. But like you said, first thing first, peaceful transfer of power did not happen under the previous administration.
No.
There were a lot of deficiencies that were highlighted that got that jail built. Now you're looking at the contracts. It's all kind of it's a shell game, man. Y'all playing games with us, bro. Y'all legally stealing, and we see you now.
Now the contractor. Now I know there's a question when they said this earlier today about the contractor. They were trying to figure out who the contractor was because this came from Saturday. I don't know if everybody noticed or not, but the plumbing system in that jail is at an all-time low. So it flooded in there last weekend, and they had to cut it off altogether because it was flooding. So now they have a contractor that is coming through that's going to have to go in and redo that plumbing system in there. And supposedly, I think the estimate is going to be close to somewhere between $250,000 to $300,000. So the question is, if there was a warranty on that building for 10 years and we're in a dire straight situation, then the question is, that system, was it built to last 10 years or just 10 years and then bam, here you go?
You said it a minute ago, bro. Mr. Red Bottom was asking all the right questions but taking no responsibility. The city council got to be responsible for some of that jail too, right?
And you got to remember the same contractor that is building this new wing for the city is the same contractor that built the old wing. Now, if that's any indicator, that's an indicator to me. I'm asking you, is this thing gonna last? So, good questions.
All I'm saying is, man, it's legal theft. It's legal theft backed up by paperwork, which is the fine. And we elected some of these clowns to put a stamp on it and do the best decision making they can to put a stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they stand up and they act like them good old boys. That's what I'm gonna say. They act like the black ones acting like them good old boys. So it's real frustrating watching this whole thing go down. It's a crap show. It's a crap show. If you can read between the lines, what I'm really trying to do.
I know what you're saying.
All right, bro. I'm gonna hang up.
All right, brother. Good to hear from you, James. We gotta take another break. Let's take another break. We'll take another break here. Get you ready for 6, because coming in today at 6. Yes, indeed. Carrie and Arnie gonna be here for 6, right? All right, 6 this evening, y'all. Hold on, we got more coming up, y'all, and we'll also talk to our good friend. He's gonna join us about 5:20, about 2 minutes from now. We're gonna be talking with Mr. Couvion about this latest poll that is out. We'll talk about it in just a minute. Everybody hold tight.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Lowe's. While big companies might be pulling back on DEI, consumers are still very much interested in supporting diverse businesses. That's according to Aurora James, founder of 15% Pledge, an organization founded in 2020 that works with big retailers, asking them to promise to commit at least 15% of their shelf space for Black-owned businesses. She says that people, especially Gen Z, are still committed to supporting diverse brands when they shop.
Consumer sentiment and consumer values haven't changed over the past 4 years. Like, we still know that people are more interested than ever in shopping with their values. And so I think every corporation that we partnered with at the 15% Pledge, whether it's Sephora or Nordstrom, are really proud to continue with these commitments.
On top of its core mission, 15% Pledge also offers several grants to Black-owned businesses. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, this is Dave Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 AM and Sunday evening at 5 PM, bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. Hey, Mr. Harrell. Mr. Harrell?
Yes, how you doing?
Good, how you doing? Where you been?
I just talked to Wick. You know, we had, I think I told you, we had 3 people in the family that died inside of a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the funeral was coming up on the 12th of this month. So Wick sent me a condolences, and so did Alicia. I talked to Alicia today. But life is good. But what I wanted to, I just like the women that call your show. And I'm not just saying they have good mental structure. And what you need to do is get to these young fellas before they get into the situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
But really what I wanted to call you about is the show that you had yesterday. And you know you're good, but you don't realize how good. And I'm not patronizing. The information that you and Dr. Shepard and the other doctor gave the people yesterday will bless them the rest of their life. People need information. The people that really need information don't get information. But the information that you all gave yesterday, it was so good. And I think it was one of your, since I've been calling, one of your premier shows, because you're teaching the young, and that's what I'm doing. The generation that's coming behind me, that's what I wake up every morning to put together and get together so they will live as good as I have lived good and still am. And people need information, and the drone thing that you talked about yesterday, it will give them employment, it will give them access, and I don't even know how to put it in words, the show that you had yesterday. I just couldn't process all of it. So I said I have to call you today and thank you for that, because the young people need direction, and if they get the right education, the right direction, then life can be good. And like I tell you again, I'm getting close to becoming a senior citizen. I'm only 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So what people have given me information through the years, which made life much better for me. So I just had to holler at you. I talked to Alicia earlier, and we talked about your show. Well, she didn't hear. She's going to hear your show, but I was telling her what a show it was. I'll close with that. You have a good evening. I appreciate all of your callers.
All right, Mr. Harrell. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later. All right. One of the things that came out, we were hoping that we were going to have him today for 5:20. Hopefully, while we're discussing this, he'll call in. But because he sent me an email stating that he would be with us today at 5:20, but I don't have him yet. Their Orleans Parish poll results came out from JMC Analytics and Polling. Mr. John Couvion is the CEO. And he said this is from likely voters Orleans Parish conducted on May 27th and 28th. We're is that him? Yeah, we're waiting for him to be a part of us. So a lot of his poll results that came out have to do with favorable and unfavorable opinion in the district attorney, Congressman Troy Carter, City Council at Large Helena Moreno for her, and of course unfavorable opinions or favorable opinions from the sheriff, and also the police chief, former police chief Michelle Woodfork, and also if there was an election today, who would you vote for, including the mayor. And so joining us now on the phone, we've got him here. He is here. There he is. Mr. John Couvion is with us. Hello, sir.
How you doing this afternoon? Thanks for having me on your show.
I thank you, number one, for right off the cuff here, because I just got these numbers earlier this morning, and that's when I sent you the email. So I'm sorry it's not a 24-hour turnaround.
all in good time.
Yeah. Let's talk about you for a minute. You've been doing this for a while, because I've been reading up on you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about JMC Analytics and Polling.
Absolutely. So first off, I'm a Louisiana-based pollster. I have been in polling for 15 years, and I'm actually what you would call someone who found politics as a second life. In other words, I was in the corporate world 18 years because I've always loved politics all my life, but until data analytics became the cool thing to talk about, I never figured out a way to make a living out of politics. And then I taught myself how to do polling, and so 15 years later, here I am. And I do polls within and without the state of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. I know that now this is what I heard on the news, and you can confirm or not that there might be some folks that are going to come to you and say, hey, I need you to run a poll, but aren't looking to be out in the limelight to say, hey, we paid for this poll and da-da-da-da. So I heard that a PAC actually asked you to do this one.
That's correct. It is a PAC that is not affiliated with any of the candidates.
It's not affiliated at all.
Correct.
Now, and I'm asking you this, but so I'm trying to get your opinion more so than anything else. When a PAC asks you to do this, and they're not affiliated with this, does that mean that they're looking to see where they're going to put their money, or who they're going to support?
There's all kinds of explanations you could have. It could be they could see where they want to put their money. It could be that they may be telling their colleagues where to put their money or support. I mean, all those kinds of things. In other words, there's always a reason for there to be a poll. That's the way I look at it.
When I looked at this poll, I thought it was interesting that, and the reason why I'm saying interesting is that it's polling time before we really even got somebody registered to say I'm in. We know that some of the folks have announced that they're going to run, but they haven't qualified because the qualifying is what, October?
July 9th, 10th, and 11th.
July, okay, July 10th.
In other words, it's an October election,
right?
And most likely mail-in ballots will go out like the first or second week of September. But qualifying, and see, the thing that's interesting with the question that you brought up is that typically what happens is candidates have a gestation period, easily several months to maybe 9 months to 12 months before you even have qualifying, because of the time it takes to raise money and accumulate support, especially in a larger parish like Orleans. So it's not like presto changeo, you could have a campaign start from zero on July 11th. There is some preparatory work that has to be done, and all the while, candidates and or their campaigns and or PACs and or influential people want to test the waters to see which way the wind is blowing.
So let me ask you this one. You walked right into it. What I'm trying to figure out is, since your ears close to the ground here, who else are you hearing may jump in this race?
Well, that's a very good question. If you're talking, and actually that's one of those questions you'll have to split up into a couple parts, for the reason being, for the mayor's race, I'm of the opinion that given the money and time it takes to build an organization in a larger city, unless you have a very large, stash of funds, so to speak, I seriously doubt that someone major can jump in at the last minute. Now, do I think there's going to be more than 3 or so candidates officially on the ballot? Absolutely. You always have people who jump in, regardless of whether they're viable or not. But the second part of your question, which I think does bear some discussion, is whether the numbers in the sheriff's race may encourage people to want to jump in. And now this is purely speculation. I certainly don't have that magic crystal ball, but last week, in light of the news about the jailbreak, you had former Sheriff Gussman giving his opinion about things, and I'm thinking, okay, why would he be interested in what's going on? So I always take the attitude that you can have surprises, but in terms of major candidates jumping in between now and July 11th, it's unlikely just because of the time it takes to ramp up.
I am hearing now. I'll say this so that you won't. I mean, I too am trying to pay attention to that race, the mayor's race, and maybe even some of the city council races. Is the fact that former Sheriff Gussman is saying that he's going to get back in the race. Have you heard that too?
I haven't heard it, but the fact that he was on TV opining about the jailbreak, that is the kind of thing that kind of gets my antenna up.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, he made his opinions known that he wasn't in favor of what happened as far as the current sheriff is concerned. I guess there's some still bad blood there because of his last race. So maybe. Well, what about the mayor's race? Is the mayor's race anything that make your antennas pop up?
Nothing I've heard per se, but the thing that gets interesting, though, is there's the behind-the-scenes stuff going on, which is what's happening now, but then there is the when the voters turn in part. And so I always take the attitude the month of June, people on vacations, they're thinking about anything but politics. But as you get into the summer, particularly once people have had their vacations, kids are coming back, school starts and so forth, that's really when people start to tune in.
I was. It was interesting to me, and I'm looking at the sheriff's race again. I'm probably going to dig on this a couple of times. And I was looking at some of the percentages here, and when I saw that favorable for, I would say in that race was Michelle Woodford with what, 34. Is it 30? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm looking at two different races.
It's a 49-19 spread because I always like to aggregate the very favorable and somewhat favorable number. And similarly, I like to aggregate the very unfavorable and somewhat unfavorable. So she has a respectable 49-19 spread.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you now. But what I was also looking at is that undecided. And were you surprised about your undecided numbers?
Not terribly, because the thing about this is you have an incumbent who's in trouble, but I think people are still trying to casting about and seeing where they want to land. I would imagine there's probably not much in the way of advertising that has yet gone on the sheriff's race. In other words, the sheriff's race, in my opinion, up until the jailbreak, was subordinate to the mayor's race.
It was subordinate.
But now it has the potential of being on that same,
it's on the hot
level
seat
of interest.
Yeah, it's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
But what about this mayor's race? Because it looks like, I mean, in your numbers here, it looks like Helena Moreno can just walk right in.
So the way I look at it is, and this is, putting on my professorial hat here, a poll is a snapshot of current conditions. So the biggest misunderstanding people have about polls is that it is not a crystal ball of what's going to happen, but it is, as of today, here's how things look. Now, I can tell you from having polled this race several times for private individuals that Oliver Thomas's numbers have been relatively static, and Helena Moreno's has been steadily gaining. So the question then becomes, what, if any, game changer can there be to change the trajectory of the way things are going? And that really applies not only to Hunter and to Thomas, but also to Moreno, because there's good and bad at being out front like that. The good is it certainly makes it easier to, say, get the affection of donors, and people do tend to vote for who they think is the winner or going to be the winner. That also has a bad side, and that is the danger of complacency. So her being far out front is good and bad at the same time, but the interesting thing is she has built a biracial coalition, which in post-Katrina New Orleans is vital if you want to win citywide.
And running a citywide race. And again, I agree with you too. A poll is a look into, but this is not necessarily the way that it's going to run. And then the other part of this, we don't know who else is going to get in this race, but I don't think it's just going to be these few candidates. I think that there will be more.
Yeah. There's anything that's possible in the world of politics. Yeah. But from a practical standpoint, the proverbial going from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a month's time is much more challenging when you've had these three candidates out there and donors are probably spoken for. So it's kind of like, what virgin territory can you clear out as a new candidate that has not already been kind of appropriated to the existing candidates? In other words, that's the challenge of jumping in late is there that market demand for such a candidate?
How much does money play into these elections compared to boots on the ground and who I know? Right. And this person shaking hands and kissing babies.
Well, way back in 1983, Edwin, this is kind of an interesting statement towards your question. Way back in 1983, this was the Edwards-Treen race, when Dave Treen was busily campaigning in a shopping center on the West Bank, Edwin Edwards said the state is too big to campaign in shopping centers. In other words, if you're talking about, say, a constituency of, let's pretend, a New Orleans City Council seat, theoretically you can do more grassrooting, but when you're citywide, especially with Orleans Parish being one of the three largest parishes in the state, you do have to have some kind of not only a mass media, but a massive organization in terms of turnout. So, and of course that requires money. So towards that end, money is important because I'll say this, and I love kind of saying what is not supposed to be said when it comes to the role of money in elections. You can have too much as well as too little money.
Mm-hmm.
But too little money, and I jokingly call those the Facebook candidates, which is people who basically have enough money for the qualifying fee and they beg for Facebook's likes as a way of getting votes. Well, that's a very tough way to campaign, but at the same time, you could have so much money that you oversaturate voters' attention and they tune you off.
So let's go back then. Let me kind of bring something to the light here where I know you know already, but let's go back to the mayor's race between Charbonnet and Cantrell.
Yeah.
Because it was stated that Charbonnet, now I'm only stating what I think I know, that Charbonnet had 1.2 million. And I don't think Cantrell had just that much. I knew she had some pretty good numbers, but
Correct.
It was not as much as Charbonnet's campaign.
And basically what you just did is provide an exhibit A about what I'm saying about it. The key is to have enough money to compete, but just because you have more cash on hand than your opponent is not a 100% guarantee of success. So in other words, I'm saying the same thing you're saying, just in a different way.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing, but I'm just using them as the road dog, the road map here for exactly what you were saying. So,
and actually another example, this is not New Orleans specific, this is Louisiana specific, but you'll remember in the governor's race of 2023, Hunter Lundy had $2 million to spend, and he was dumping it on ads, and, you know, a lot of good it got him. He didn't even attain 5% of the vote.
Didn't that also happen just the election that we saw with Gretna, where what's the gentleman's name? He was well known as one of the former elected officials, billboards, television commercials, everything, and he didn't even make the runoff.
Yeah, so, you know, that's the thing, is that sometimes voters may just simply not like you, and it doesn't matter if you have 10,000, 100,000, 10 million, or whatnot. So I take the attitude it's better to have money than not to, but you can have too much money, because I've found oftentimes if you're so well financed, you get sloppy.
You get what?
Sloppy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
In other words, you start spending money without regards to
just because you got it.
Effective. Right. Exactly, just because you got it.
So it needs to be strategic. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I was wondering, though, when I looked at the poll, I said I did not see, and I don't know if you're doing this, but I'd like to get the scoop if you are. Are you going to do anything for the city council races? And have you seen an election recently where you have city council, sheriff, and mayor, and probably some other folks all at one time in the, what, 4 years?
I mean, typically that's what makes New Orleans unique, is the fact that you have all these elections at the same time, because even in Baton Rouge, where I live, we have mayor and metro council at the same time, but we don't throw in the parish-wides at the same time. We have those on the regular statewide election cycle. So it is kind of the uniqueness about New Orleans, having the citywide elected officials, with the exception of the DA, of course, but the citywide elected officials and the city council in the same race, because that truly makes it a New Orleans-centric election.
Yeah, that was interesting that I saw. I was like, wow, everybody. So how do we make sure, and as a pollster, I try to look at some of the precinct voting. How do we make sure, though, because New Orleans has been known, I don't know about Baton Rouge, but New Orleans has been known lately, other than the amendments in the last year, to be low voter turnout?
Yes.
I think the average has been somewhere between 9 to 13%.
It depends on the election, but I have found that there is a relatively lower level of engagement in Orleans Parish, yes.
And I was just trying to figure out, did anybody ever give you any idea of what that is coming from?
Like the source of the apathy? Well, it's a good question, and I think that the culture of New Orleans is laid back and fun, And that, to me, tends not to lend itself to anything political.
Not to be?
In other words, if people are more interested in weekend activities and or going to the French Quarter and things like that, I think it's harder if you're in the political arena to break through and get voters' attention.
Okay, very good. And we got everything in the world happening here. It's almost a festival every week, though. But
yeah, and you have a festival, and the other thing that's always a challenge too, and this is just the nature of the beast. Besides the hot summer weather and summer vacation, then you get into Saints football season, which also is and to a lesser extent LSU football, both of which can be distractions from things political. So, but that's something that any political candidate knows that he or she has to deal with.
Very good. Any of the numbers that you found out as far as the percentages are concerned? Because you polled, 500 people?
Correct, 500 likely voters.
Okay, so those are registered voters?
Yes.
And did you find out anything from those registered voters? Because some of the numbers were surprising. But did you find anything that surprised you?
The thing that I did find interesting is the sheriff's race. In other words, if you are an incumbent, when I look at the sheriff's race and I see abysmal numbers, not just in terms of approval, disapproval, but the percentage of the vote that Sheriff Hudson is getting, I take the attitude that if the numbers are that bad, I kind of wonder if it's more than just the jailbreak, which is the source of her electoral problems. So I will admit to you that was my surprise, because to be polling that badly, you do have to have kind of a, honest discussion with somebody about if you should even run, because it's very tough for an incumbent to climb out that kind of a hole, especially with this unfavorable publicity and a former incumbent who is throwing in his pot shots about what he thinks what he would have done differently.
Yeah, that too. So if you don't mind, what I'm going to do is probably go over some of these numbers on the air. I didn't want to read the numbers without your permission. Because I know
you have my permission. Because the way I look at it is because it was publicly released on my website, that makes it public property.
Yeah. You want to give everybody your website? What is it?
Absolutely. It's winwithjmc.com.
One more time.
Win, W-I-N, with, W-I-T-H-J-M-C.com.
Very good. Any more polls coming before the election or during the election? What are you going to be doing?
As I always like to say, anything is possible, because one of the things about polling, which, kind of a little educational moment here, the way I like to operate is people come to me really at any time wanting to do a poll, and sometimes they want it publicized, sometimes they don't. But I could not predict with a perfect crystal ball that, on July such and such there'll be a poll, or September such and such there'll be a poll. I just kind of take them as they come.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Mr. Kuvion, make sure that we have this conversation some more. I'd love to keep in contact with you, especially with this being election season. And I know you got a lot of insight, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me on your show.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you again.
You bet.
Bye-bye. Mr. Kuvion, John Kuvion from JMC Enterprises and also JMC Analytics in Poland. All right, we'll get ready to wrap up the show. More coming up in just a minute, y'all. We'll take a break here.
AURN News.
July 4th. That's the deadline that President Trump has set for the Senate to send him his massive tax and immigration package, the Big Beautiful Bill. The House squeaked the measure through by just one vote on May 22nd, and now Senate Republicans face a 4-week sprint to reconcile the differences before Independence Day. Trump has publicly vowed there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid, even as the bill expanded Medicaid work requirements, threatened coverage for millions of seniors and people with disabilities. On Monday, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said GOP senators are working at warp speed to align with the House version, despite a fragile majority and sharp disagreements over deep spending cuts versus preserving popular programs. Now, conservative holdouts like Senators Josh Hawley and Susan Collins worry rural hospitals will suffer under provider tax limits, while others fret that slashing clean energy tax credits could derail economic growth in their states. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
I'm waiting with bated breath for someone to hold President Donald Trump accountable for the lies that he spreads on a daily basis. It's downright embarrassing. His lies are a discredit to the integrity of the Oval Office and the people of the United States. We were once considered a nation to be revered and respected, but thanks to our liar-in-chief, we are now perceived as a nation to be pitied and scorned. The most recent incident to garner international blowback was the meeting at the White House between Trump and the president of South Africa, where Trump held up a picture and played a video which he claimed were proof of genocide against white farmers in South Africa. Both displays have now been discredited. Trump claimed the picture showed white crosses that marked the graves where murdered white farmers had been buried. The truth is, there were no graves, and the white crosses had been planted along the roadside as part of a national protest by white and black South Africans admonishing leaders to do something about the overall murder rate in that country. And the video that Trump played of bodies being loaded in an ambulance was from Sudan, not South Africa. The attempt by Trump to tag the president of South Africa with genocide was, in my mind, a botched attempt to justify allowing 59 white South African refugees to relocate to America while at the same time denying refugee status to people from black and brown countries. Let's be clear. There is no genocide happening in South Africa. Multiple international organizations, including the United Nations and Human Rights Watch, have found no evidence to support such an allegation. South Africa does face serious challenges, violent crime, land inequality, and political corruption among them, but those are systemic and affect citizens across racial lines. Trump's language isn't just inaccurate, he's dangerous. He borrows directly from white nationalist talking points, portraying white South Africans as uniquely persecuted, while at the same time ignoring the deep scars left by apartheid and the ongoing socio-economic struggles of the black South Africans. This isn't basic misinformation, folk. These are lies deliberately meant to skew perceptions, to actively undermine diplomacy, and to feed global extremism. Politicians often boast and exaggerate selectively, choosing facts to make their points, but telling bold-faced lies to fan flames of fiction is disgustingly outrageous. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time. Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the whole water stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to wish all of our students, teachers, and administrators a great summer break. Use this break as an opportunity to relax and reflect on all of you've accomplished this year. We can't wait to celebrate your success in the coming months.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, just to give you some insight here, and we'll make it, because I know I'm running out of time here. So what I'll do is try to make it as brief as possible before Wick have a real hissy fit over there on the other side. He ain't hear me, so I'm glad he ain't hear me. He ain't look up and give me the finger. But when we start looking at the numbers, one of the things that I noticed about these numbers in percentages, it was favorable more so, and that's what it was called: favorable, unfavorable, less favorable. When we start talking about the mayor's race, who in that race was more favorable to win? That's what he's looking at. He's looking at who's going to win, and I looked at it and said, interesting. So here it is real quick. Very favorable, because the question is, do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of District Attorney Jason Williams? Very favorable, 19%, somewhat favorable, 30%, somewhat unfavorable, 18%, very unfavorable, 12%, 6%, no opinion, 5%, no opinion. In the mayor's race, 39% favorable for Helena Moreno, 27% for unfavorable. I'm sorry, somewhat favorable, 10% for unfavorable, and for Oliver Thomas, 27% favorable. So you got some things to work on. I am going to work on trying to get the sheriff to be on with us, and maybe sit down and talk about some of these other races as well. I think that I am probably a little biased in the race for sheriff, so I am going to recuse myself from that race. All right. Other than that, that's going to wrap things up for me today. We'll go over some more of these polling numbers on tomorrow, so make sure that you are with us. All right. Everybody have a great day. Don't go nowhere, because Carrie and Arnie are coming up next to have some more conversation with you next, right here on WBOK.
WBOK. Online at WBOK.